You gotta do your clap. Oh wait, TV's not on. TV?
TV's not on. All right, ready?
Proud of you.
Hello and welcome to Two Whole People. I'm your co-host Connor.
And I'm Kevin.
And on this fantabulous episode of Two Whole People, we are going to discuss, what are we going to, I've already forgotten. How we got our first jobs.
How we got our first jobs.
Software engineering jobs.
Yeah, which was a harrowing experience, I'll tell you that.
Straight out of college. So we got a bachelor's in computer science.
Yep.
That's actually where we both met in college. And then, so this is going to be about how we actually got our first jobs out of college, out of our bachelor's, cast out into the real world, how we managed to convince people to pay us money to do things, which was very difficult. And why should you care about what we have to think? Why should they care about you?
They should care about me. I mean, you don't have to, I guess.
It's your background.
My background.
What are your skills? You got like
I'm a full stack
skills.
developer.
Okay.
Full stack web developer. Yeah, not nunchuck skills.
Oh, that's kind of boring.
I wish.
Okay, sorry, no, but what's your background?
I'm a full stack developer for a small startup here in Arizona.
Don't tell them where we live. No,
Well,
I'm just kidding.
they're going to scour the entire state.
That's fine. We're good.
But yeah. And then you'll hear more about how I obtained this career, this job, because I'm still kind of work for the same company / people as I did when I got my first job. So it's a fun story.
Care about me just because I told you.
Don't care about me.
You should care about what I have to say about this particular topic and about software stuff in general, because I have a data science master's. I've been a data engineer, BI dev, data scientist for about 8 years.
Nerd.
Now, yes, facts and logic. So, yeah.
Good one.
How did you convince people to pay you, Kevin?
I really think that you should go first because my story.
Okay, I can go first.
My story hinges on your story.
We got a hinger.
Yeah, hinge.
All right. Well, anyway, so let's rewind back to 2018. Me and him are done with college.
4 years ago.
All right. Yeah, that's a while ago. Done with college. First off, I just want to say what definitely helped me get my first job is the fact that I did not start working straight out of college. When I was a sophomore in college, I got a job and I can like draw a parallel from every job I had and how it helped me get to the next job I had. So maybe I'll just do that. The first job I had was I was a sophomore in college, and I got a job at being a tutor at the college. And I tutored in math and coding. And I can't remember why I got that job. I think it was because I had a scholarship. And a part of the scholarship was that you had to volunteer a certain amount of hours. That's right.
That's how I got.
A part of I forgot about this too. A part of the scholarship that we had was that we had to volunteer a certain amount of hours each year.
Tutoring.
And yeah, one of the ways to do that was to tutor. And I did that. And the week that I did that, I got some award because I tutored on the most people. And
correct.
And the manager there was the one who gave it to me, and then she was like, if you want a job here, then just let us know, and then we can like perform an interview and see if you. I was like, okay. And then, like a month went by and I was like, I want a job there because I want some more money. And so that's how I got my first job. Was I did stuff for free for like a week, and I tried to toot all over people for about a week, and apparently I did that well.
Tutor. He could toot so well.
I hold that title up with great pride. But yeah, anyway, so then I was a tutor when I was a sophomore, and then at some point I transitioned to I worked for the Tempe Police Department. They and I can't remember also how I got that job, but they came in to talk to us.
And then
to our class.
You and a certain unnamed other person
volunteered to be part-time for them to build out. They wanted to build out some sort of application where they could like view on a map like
fraudulent charges.
Yeah,
or something.
fraudulent. So like you can easily tell if people are if storefronts are embezzling money if you just have a map and then you see the amount of money that's the amount of money that is passing through each of the stores, and the way you calculate what the amount of money is that passes through is different. But they basically had a ton of data, a ton of Excel files basically, and they're like, we want this to be some sort of like application with a GUI that like our police officers can just look at and use, as opposed to going through row by row in a spreadsheet and like trying to find the data that they need.
Do they still use that?
I think so. I haven't talked to them in a long time, but when I got my full time, because I did that job, I think when I was a junior when I got the job, and I did that job until I became, no, I got the job when I was a senior, and then I did that job until I got my full time job.
Oh, that's right. You got it when you were a senior, because that's when I was doing that other thing.
So and they liked me enough where they basically told me that like we don't have enough money to hire you on full time, and it was also like the school and the Tempe Police Department liked the idea that you can pass this on to someone else to work part time who's like a year behind you, and then we'll just pass it on and pass it on and pass it on. So I got to help pick the next person to come in or whatever from the year behind us. And then, but they're like, but you can just chill here until you get your full-time job. So that was nice too. And I also had an internship at Lockheed Martin the summer before my senior year. And the only reason I got that, I think, was because I'd worked as a tutor. And then I had also worked as a quality assurance officer, or QA basically, which I had completely forgotten about. That was when I was... I think that's also when I was a sophomore.
Were you a freshman when you had that job?
I can't remember. But yeah, and that one I knew a person who was on the inside who was also a student. That was Paul. And
for the QA job, yeah.
Yeah, and Paul is basically who got me that job, because he talked to his boss and he's like, hey, if we need more people, there's this person that I know, Connor, and he's so from the very beginning, it was like these tiny jobs that I didn't think would make a difference really in terms of how I got hired. Mm-hmm. Turned out that like they, it kind of chains together, and it's like, I have the job I have now because I had my last job, and I had that job because I had my last job, and so on until all the way back until the first job I had.
Yeah.
Which was, I was on the line at Chipotle. That was my first job. I took that job before I became a freshman in college. The summer before I went to college, I took that job. That was probably the best job I had, because it was a big one. It was like, man, I need to like really try hard in college, because I just don't want to do this forever. So that definitely, because I just didn't think I thought that much about my future, about what I wanted to do. And then I did that job, and I was like, I'm going to think about it a little bit more.
Yep.
Because it was hard, but it was also tasty. That was a delicious job, because you get free meals if you work at Chipotle, or at least you did.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, or at least when I worked there, you would get one free meal a day, and then I think they changed the policy because of me. I'm not kidding, because they don't. This is not the point of the story, but as a quick aside, they didn't specify free meal, so. At Chipotle, you go and you ask for a double meat. It's like, well, you pay more. But it's like, but if the meal's free, you don't pay more. So I was like, I'll have 4 times the meat. And then I'll have 3 tortillas. And then I'll have like double the guac.
Of course.
And then I would go home with like a toddler-sized like bag. That's like a single meal. And then I think they had to like make rules at least at the one that I worked at, because they're like, Connor can't just like empty the entire line for his one meal. It was delicious though. Anyway, all those things led up to the actual point of the story, which is after college. So I was done with college. I had a bunch of free time. I was still working part-time with the Tempe Police. I was still doing that, making dashboards for them with R. That's what we did there. And, I just, in my free time, I was like, what do I do? I have to apply for jobs, and like I have to find a full-time job, and I was terrified to go into an interview, like, cause like this was like the coldest one that I've ever gone into in terms of like, my friend told the boss about me already, or I met the person at class before they hired me, except maybe for Lockheed Martin. That was one where they wanted to have an interview with me, and they just like we'll call you at this point, and I was like, okay. And that was like a cold call in terms of I didn't know them, they didn't know me, they were like a state away. It was, but yeah, anyway, terrified of interviews, right? I hate them so much. Probably wouldn't care as much now because I actually have a resume.
So a skill set. We left college with,
it feels a lot better when you have a resume.
Like no skills.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, at the time it's like, what you just have to. And then I applied to like probably 20 jobs a week for like 4 weeks. So for about a month. And, I tried to, everyone I applied to, I made sure there was a cover letter, and like, it wasn't just a template that I sent out to all, I had a template, but then I would build on the template for each job that I applied to. And then at some point I got an interview with someone. So like after 2 or 3 weeks, I got one, and they called me, and it was a data entry job. And I was like, I want to do something with coding more so it wasn't like a good fit really. And so that one kind of fell through, and then I felt sad. And then like a week after that, so just applying, I got a call back, and then I talked to the phone with them. So then they had me come into the home office, and then I talked to them, and then that was my first job, my first full-time job, and I was a data engineer there for about a year to a year and a half. Mm-hmm. And then about a year in, I got pinged on LinkedIn from the company that I work for now, that I've been working for about three years. They pinged me, and they asked me if, they said, here's a role, do you think that you would be a good fit? And then I talked to the new company, and then I went there, and I had a programming test, like test for like the first time. That was a weird one. And like, so, but yeah, that was job 2 where I actually had to test to get in, but it was good.
Real quick, how many of the jobs that you got did you have to do an actual technical interview for?
Oh, that I was hired on for?
Yeah. Or like just in general, how many interviews did you go on that you actually had to do a technical interview?
Before I graduated college, so like the tutoring one, they didn't really, they would review how you tutored every couple of weeks to make sure that you weren't making the kids dumber. But so that was the biggest test there. But like in terms of in the real world, let's see, at Lockheed Martin, I don't think they just asked me like those high level kind of like abstract programming types of questions where they want to see how concepts. You problem solve ideas. And that was the same thing at the first job I got out of college, and it wasn't until I went in for the job that I have now where they actually they gave me a laptop, and they're like, you need to write some SQL code right now, and what do you and they would be like, what does a foreign key do, and stuff like that. And then if you had to drop this column, but there's a foreign key relationship with this column and this column and then this other table, how do you actually drop the column? Like what are the steps that you have to do? And then there was like an actual coding thing where there was like 20 questions for SQL code, and it was like, just get through as many as you can in like a half hour or something like that. Yeah. And then I didn't even get through all of them. I got through like 8 of them, and they're like, that's fine. Not like everyone gets through them. And I was like, okay, okay, I believe you, but I don't at all. This is horrible. I didn't get through all of them, but
he got hired. So.
I did. Yeah, I did get hired. But yeah, I mean, and I think they knew that I needed to spin up on a bunch of concepts too, and then I did, and I learned as fast as I could. But yeah, just to be honest too, because you don't want to lie about how much you know.
Yes.
They will find out eventually, and then they'll go, "Well, he lied to us," or "Sure, she lied to us." As opposed to being honest about how much you know, and then, but I'll learn as fast as I can.
Yeah, they don't really care as much what you know about the concepts. I mean, maybe they do in higher level interviews, but like on entry level stuff, it's less about what you know already and more about how well you can learn and how fast you can learn and like how good you are at problem solving. That's more of what they care about.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's how I got my first job, as I applied to 80 jobs. And
80.
I got one call and that didn't work, and then I got a second call and then it worked.
Very nice.
I prepared a lot for the interview itself, though, both times, where I was like, you go through what the job application is on, if it's on Indeed or whatever, you pull that down, and then you search, Python front end. You search all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You search for interview questions based on all of the concepts that are in the job application, and then the night before, I was like, I have to make sure I'm ready so that they hire me, and then I'll actually learn.
Yeah,
later.
Perfect.
Hey, it works.
It did work. He is employed.
All right, I just rambled for a while there.
Yeah.
Kev,
do you want to just do mine in a part 2? We can do mine in a part 2.
We're gonna do Kev's in a part 2, so we don't bore you guys to death.
Yeah. So you guys will actually watch the whole video instead of the first 30 seconds.
All right.
Cool.
And with that, Kevin,
we're going. So look at it. Hit the play. Got him.